Hi everyone, I'm Marieanne, the Artsie Crafter. Welcome back to my channel. And if you haven't been here before, then welcome to my channel. Before we get on, I have to mention this morning I had high hopes of it being a lovely sunny day. I even put on a colourful summer dress, dreaming I'm on a beautiful beach somewhere, warm, watching the sunrise. So that's the reason why I'm showing you this little illustration I put together. Unfortunately, things don't always go the way you expect. So the sun went away and now it's cold again, and now I have to wear, I'm wearing a cardigan over my summer dress. There we go, my colourful summer dress. So, anyway, if you watch some of my videos, previous ones, you might have noticed that I do mention the weather quite a lot. I do so because the weather plays a big impact on our moods, and whatever mood we're in at the time we're crafting or working in our journals, it does most often influence, what we create or what we write, whether it be positive or negative, So today I'm in a good mood because it's Friday, and I'm thinking maybe I should call Friday videos Fun Fridays. I apologize if it's still Thursday or some other day of the week when you're watching this video, but you can always pretend it's Friday and thinking of a lovely relaxing weekend just hours away. Well, that's what I tell my hubby anyway, on those mornings when he doesn't feel like going to work. I try my best to send him off on a positive note, as any of we good wives would do, although it is hard to be bright and cheery, at 3:30 in the morning. That's when he leaves for work, and that's when I've had my first coffee for the day. So far today, I've had 2 coffees and 1 tea, which probably explains why I'm waffling on and not getting on with today's tutorial. So, enough said, let's get on with it and have some crafty fun, shall we? I'll put that aside, and I'll bring this out today. We're going to make decorate a junk journal envelope, and the one I'm going to work on today is in here when I can find it. It's funny, you can never find the page. I mean, there's not that many pages in here. You think, oh, there we go. It's hiding behind my monthly mood chart. There we go. So we're going to work on this one today, and I'm going to make this a side pocket. So I cut a slither out of the envelope, and so I can make a side pocket. And hello, you can see my little fingers in there, so we don't want to have to see those. So what I did was cut this panel out to cover it up. So I will attach the glue onto this part of the envelope, so I make sure I don't put glue on this section here. And yeah, I've done that before, so that will go on there. But before we do that, I'm going to make some little side tucks here, and we're going to add some little side tucks and some little pockets. So this is I've used here, I'll just put all this aside for now, using thin dictionary paper, and because it is very thin, I'm going to glue 2 sheets together for one panel. So we're going to make, this is one flip out, so I've just folded the page over and torn the edges, and then I've divided this second page here into 2 panels here, and I put little hinges on them like that, and I've torn around the edges so they will attach one on top of the other, this hinge, and the hinge will go on behind this panel like so, and then this will be glued onto the envelope. That way your hinge is hidden, you haven't got any ugly hinge showing through. So, and then this one here will be attached to the top, and that will be done, we're going to put these together with another panel of paper, but I'll show you that later on. So it'll all be attached, and then you'll have all these flip outs here like so, and we'll add some pockets and decoration and all that kind of thing. So first step is to get these panels made, these flip outs, so I'll put that aside. And what I'm doing here is I've got 3 sheets of this dictionary paper, and I don't know whether you want measurements or not, because it depends on what size envelope that you're using. You don't have to use an envelope, you can just put it on a page itself. So the size, I'll just tell you the sizes I'm working with. This dictionary page is 10.5 or 26 centimeters by 8 inches or 20 inches wide. So I'm going to glue them together, and this time I'm going to glue them together the right side up, because last time I had one panel, in my prototype I had one panel upside down, which doesn't matter. Some days I like all my pages to be upright when I'm working in the journal, and other days, it depends on what I'm doing, I don't really care if it's sideways. Sometimes that adds to the decoration. And then the third one, I'm just going to glue half the page and fold this over, so you will get an upside down panel. So if you don't want that, you just cut this in half and then you can put it on top, but I'm not going to do that. It's one extra step we don't need to do. So go ahead and glue those. So I'll go ahead and glue those panels together, and I'll come back, and I better tell you I'm going to be using my glue stick here, because it's the best to use on this thin paper. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back. Okay. When I did the prototype, I glued it down fine, and this time, I had a bit of trouble, but anyway, I got there. I find it easier if you just glue half this page down, put this part on top, smooth it out, and then you can fold it back and glue the second half, so that you make sure that it goes on top of each other. It doesn't matter if it's not perfectly aligned one on the other, because you are going to tear this out or cut this out anyway. So now I'm going to fold this panel page over, this double one, and I will get the ruler, and you can get a ruler or a craft knife or whatever to split them in half. And so now we have 3 here that we can play with, and the first one, if I can get all the sticky stuff off my hands, this one here is this little one, and this will, as you can see, it's upside down on one side, so if that bothers you, you know what to do. I showed you. So that's that one, and then we have these other 2 will be separate here, and it to fit I had to do it on the side here, so like that. So the hinge here is about I think it's ½ inch, yes, ½ inch or 1 1/4 centimeters wide, the hinge. I like to have a generous hinge so that it's going to stay where it's supposed to. I feel it's stronger anyway. So, and the same with this top panel. So now I just got this panel here. I don't know whether I gave you the measurements, but I'll do it again. It's 4.5 inches wide by 6 3/4 high, or 11.5 centimeters wide by 17 centimeters high. So that's the panel I cut out. So it fits inside that envelope size. So depending on what size your envelope, I just leave a thin margin all the way around, and then you can put this on here and get the rough size of it, but we're going to have do this probably. Going to have this hinge here, so mark the hinge first would be a good idea. I mean, I only did this yesterday. You think I would have remembered what I did. So uh, there's a lot of parts to this flip out on the journal, so yeah, it's it's simple, but it's just you know a matter of everything has to be done in a certain sequence, otherwise you won't get them on in the right order, and it'll make a mess. So and we don't want to make a mess. We want it to work out perfectly the first time. See this hinge here, I mustn't have just measured it, but half an inch is plenty of a hinge. And then with this panel here, you can just draw along that edge, and it's easy just to draw around this way, because you want these flip outs to be either the same size or a bit smaller. The first one anyway. The back one is going to be the biggest. So there we go. And then all I did was go around, and not the hinge side, but everywhere else I just tore it. And to get a feel of what size you want, knowing that you want the last one to be the biggest panel, the bottom one to be the biggest panel, you can fold the hinge over first, get that out of the way. So and then just get a feel for because this is going to be over that, slip over the edge of there. So then you can just play around with it and keep tearing around until you get a shape that you like. And this is and then I went ahead and also inked all the edges, and I dabbed a bit of ink in the middle of the panel too, just to give that aged grungy look to it. And so that's what I came out with. And you can see that I did go over the edge, and I don't mind, because this is smaller than the size of the journal pages anyway, the envelope. So hanging down, it'll still be inside your journal cover, if that is important to you. Some people like to have things hanging down below the journal cover, but this will definitely stay inside the journal cover, but it'll just be bigger than the panel, a tad bigger, not much, but I think that's a nice effect. And then you do the next one exactly the same, and you make it a little bit smaller, like such. And then this third one, we do create this one by folding this one panel in half, like so. And then you can put that on top here, and you could mark, it's naturally smaller anyway than that back panel that I've drawn out, but you could just roughly mark, around here, that's where the edge is, so you can just tear it a bit smaller. What I actually did was, because I got the two panels, I did the back one first, this one here, as you can see, and I made it a little bit bigger. So I drew around and I made that one a little bigger, and then when I finished tearing that part out, this second part I put it over the top, and I was able to just tear that out to make sure that, because I wanted it a little bit smaller again, so that's a way to make it a little bit smaller. That's the way I find is easy. So there we go, there's our panels all torn out, ready to go. And then, as I said, I've inked all the edges here and around to make it a little bit grungy. So the next step is to, where am I going to do the next step? Next step, I can leave this top one aside, because it's going to be different to the way we measure, attach these panels. Can't get my words out today, my tongue's in the way. So I've got these together, and I'm going to put them exactly where I want them. So that's the way I want them on this back panel. So having butted up against that edge of the back panel, I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to get some glue, and I'm going to glue this first panel down here, making sure it's right against that edge of the back panel. And I moved the top one, didn't I? But okay, flip that over and back, and then glue that one on. And go with the glue there. And that's it. It's already done, ready to go and be decorated. And I'm going to add bits and pieces and a pocket and all that kind of thing, but we can do that afterwards. This next one is going to be a little trickier, so we'll get on. I'll put all this out of the way. So this, so that's here on the front. I think I'll work from the front to the back, and that way it's a little bit clearer, easier to deal with. I'm going to put a little image, so I've cut this little image out here because I want to use this is some berries. I thought it tied in with if you saw the berries on the front of the cover, so these kind of tied in with that. They're about the same color as well, so I wanted that on there, and I thought I have no idea what animal ate berries, so I'm telling all this because I'm explaining to you my process of how I choose papers and different elements to go on my layouts. So this is one way that I do it. Just because I have a theme and a color scheme, I find all the elements that will go and fit that theme and the color scheme, and then so I go through this process that I'm showing you today. So that's why I've got these. Of course, if I haven't got a picture of berries, then I'll come up with some other thing to fit the theme. But I did have these in my stash. So they're berries. I got them from. So I get these ones. I don't know where I got these ones from. But and I think I backed them onto some cardstock. I don't know what I did with those. I might have got them out of a journal kit. I don't know. Anyway, this is definitely out of a magazine. This little mouse is so cute. So I think mice, it looks like a little bush mouse or bush rat, whatever. I think they all eat anything. And I didn't have anything else that I knew that would eat berries. So that's him on there. And he's got this bark image here. He's sitting on a bit of timber. Because this page, as I said, you know, this is how I tie in a whole theme. Because this page will be mirroring this page, be opposite this page. So I'm always thinking of what I've got on this page, and I want to have something that will complement that page, not work against it, not contrast, clash with it, I should say. So that's how I start developing all these pages and layouts to complement each other. So that will be going on the front of this panel. Then the inside here, I want some journaling space on here, and I don't want to add gesso because then that will just add extra bulk to the page that I don't want. So I've got some scraps here. So I'm just going to tear these scraps up and just going to do some collaging on this page. Just for a little bit of fun, using up the scraps. So there's my little collage page, so some journaling space. So that looks good to me. So I won't glue the edges. I won't ink the edges because I want this to be one cohesive piece of paper that I can journal on without having that ink in the background behind my writing. So I'll go ahead and glue this down and I'll come back. Okay, there we go. Oh, I missed a bit. There. So that's that page done, and we just fold it back over onto that crease. And really should leave it dry, but we need to get on and do this. So the next panel is where the tricky bit comes in, and I hope I haven't made a mistake by gluing these on first, but going to be putting, I've already cut the panels out, and this one here is some bark off a tree, which I thought went with this little piece here. Got some bark there, so I'm going to put journaling panel on here, but I want a background first up here. And when to get that shape, if I haven't explained before, all I do is I put a panel behind there, and if I get something that if you put a piece of paper, the panel behind this panel, and you trace around this one, which is what I did here. I traced around, put up the edge and traced around, and you can see that it's the same size. It goes right to the end, if you can see that. It's the same size as that. So to get a little bit of a border, you can just push it across like that, slide across there, so you can get a little bit of that border there to give that little grungy look, which means all you have to do is now just cut off a straight little piece here so that it's inside this border here. So I'm just going to use my scissors to, instead of measuring it, just use the scissors and cut a little bit out like so. And then that creates, if I cut a bit more off, it creates a border. So just cut a little bit more off. And there we go. You get a little bit of a border all the way around here. Move that out of the way, and then I leave that aside. This here goes, when you turn over, I'm going to put a pocket on the back here, so I wanted a panel behind that. So I did the same thing. I put this underneath and I drew it out, and I love this panel here, the little writing. And I also, because it's such a narrow little page, I wanted to put hinges on my little pocket so that I can take advantage of the full width of the pocket. Otherwise you end up with a skinny little thing in there, and which is fine if that's what you want. If you don't, if you want to take full advantage of the width, total width of the pocket, then you add a little half-inch or 1 centimeter hinge on the side. And then I just did the same. I put that underneath and drew the outline, the bottom panel, and I didn't tear it, I just cut it out. So that's another way. You don't always have to tear these edges, you can cut them out. And I left them straight on the edges, the other side, so that will be the pocket for there. This I'll put aside because we'll do that next. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I want to show you how to attach these to this front flip out to this flip out here. And so we're going to use a journal panel here for journaling, and I'm going to put it here. I'm going to fold it in half first, this panel, and this side's going to be attached to this flip out, and this side is going to be attached to this. So this is how these two get put on together, come together. So in order to do that, I put this panel, because I wanted this panel down here, I put it down to the edge, on the bottom edge. Because I've got that on the top edge, I put this on the bottom edge, and I drew that around the outline, and then I turned it over and I matched this point here to the edge of it on this side, and then I put this panel on, and I matched it to where I want to have this situated on top of this panel. So I want it down the bottom, but you could have it in the middle. If you wanted to put it in the middle, if you want this panel in the middle here, you'd have to use a bigger sheet of paper, and then so you can draw around that top edge. But because I've decided to, I wanted to have the journal panel concentrated more on the bottom of this page, I put it down here and drew around that. So now you have a choice of either you can cut around that edge to keep it, or you can tear it out. So I might do something different that I usually do, and you want to cut inside the line if you do choose, or tear inside the line so you get that border. There we go. I think that's enough. I've cut off. I just had to cut a bit more off. So, and I find it easy if you've got delicate paper to have something hard, some hard plastic or something or other, like a store card or something behind the if it's delicate paper, especially if you want to get that dark edge. It's easier to have something firm behind. It helps to create that dark edge. But if you don't want that, if you're just wanting a light dusting, then you might not want to do that. Okay, we'll see how this works out. So we put that there, and that will go on there, and this will glue onto there. So I'm going to glue the main panels together, and then I'll glue this last. We'll see how that works out. More gluing. That's pretty much right. So there we go. All nicely lined up. So in the meantime, I'll turn this over and cut this panel out. So you should know how to do that, hopefully. I've showed you how to do that, and I'll just take a moment to ink these edges. And we'll glue this one down first. Okay, that's down. So now I'm going to glue this panel down. So there we go, and that's finished. And then I've got to keep remembering what I'm going to do with each page. This one here, I'm going to do some journaling space. So I've cut these panels out. So once again, you just place them, because these are double-sided, so you can put it straight on and then just draw around and tear out or cut out your panels. So I've done that and see what I mean, front and back. I know that's the edge because it matches that. And of course I've inked to the wrong side, so yes, and then this one goes, so that goes on that side, and this one will go on this side, and hopefully I've done it the right way this time. Yes, I have. So I'll glue this on. And this one I'm going to use the glue because this is a thicker paper. Anyway, so we're getting there. Not far to go now. So it's still feeling a little bit dampish. So I will put that aside for just a minute, and while it does dry completely, and then we can get on with decorating it, and then it'll be done. Okay, we'll see you in a short while, which will be a few seconds for you. Okay, it's all nice and dry now. We can get on with decorating. And I've just laid some, first of all, I changed the mat because I found the glare from the lamp onto the mat was giving too much reflection, and I think it's a bit annoying. So I put this down to try and cut down that reflection. So we hope that's better. So anyway, I've got these little elements there. We're going to decorate these little flip-flop flaps, and I want to attach this to the envelope first. So I nearly made the mistake of gluing the panel, and if you remember right from the beginning, I said not to do that. We're going to glue the envelope so this section will stay open so we can get access to that side pocket. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll line it up against this edge first. Open these up. Okay. Make sure the glue is all in the right place. I use my handy ruler and I just slip this end just to make sure. The one thing I didn't do was glue that edge in, so you can see the ruler goes straight through. So yes, I forgot that. So it's no big problem because I can just lift that panel up and glue underneath this edge here. It's no big problem, and just dab that down, and it's all tucked in. There you go. And we did test before that the glue's all in the place it's supposed to be, so I'll just keep my finger against there so I don't push the glue open, and that's all fine, ready to go. So now we're going to add these elements on top. So I've gone through explained this one, so I'll just quickly glue this one on for you. And I just overlap. You know, if your design is important to you, then overlapping the elements a little bit just makes them cohesive and they look like they're just one scene or one image. If that's not important to you, then just ignore that tip. Okay, that's done. So we're going to leave that blank, and this one here, you can add, you know, if you're doing this, you can add all, you know, extra bits and pieces. It's up to you. I could add something up here, and going to, in a future video, I'm going to show you how to make some layered tags and such. So I'll wait and until I do that to put something in here. I'll leave that blank, and then on this page I found this little postcard in my stash from somewhere, I don't know, so I might put that on there as a little pocket as well. So I'll add that quickly. So if you put a little tag or journal card in here, you can do some hidden writing in here because no one will see it, or not that, you know, if this is your personal journal, then you don't want anyone to be looking at your journal, do you? So this here I'm going to make as a side tuck, so I'm just going to glue the two sides. So I found this beautiful flower out of a magazine that I thought would go really well, and I've just put some backing on there so that I can make it a side tuck. So I'll glue this on first. As I said, I'm gluing those two edges, so I'll hold this corner here. Know that not just glue on that side. Amazing how many times that you glue on the wrong side. Yeah, when you turn things over. Okay, and then I'm just going to just a little dab on either side here, so I know not to glue underneath. and I might cut this bit off because it's going to get damaged anyway, because it's hanging down. So I'll cut that off, and I can glue all the way, so it's just that top bit there. So I just held my thumb across the top there, and that's where I'm not going to glue. With that, so the last little job that I'm going to do is, you know, so you can get a hold of these little flaps to flip them over. Sounds so funny saying that. I just got these little elements here that I'm going to use as little tabs. So the first one here, and I've backed these on heavy cardstock, and I also, this one here is a double-sided leaf that I'm turning into a tab, so it will be glued on either side so you won't see the background. But this one here I glued onto heavy cardstock, so when you turn it over you'll be seeing part of the underside, so I'll put something there. The same with this one. This one here I didn't do that. I was going to, but I forgot, but I'm not going to do it now. I'll just show you that will go down. I won't glue it down, I'll just show you where it's going to go. So I'm going to put this, because this is the biggest panel, I'm going to put that on there so I can grab this and turn it over. And then the next one is I'm going to put the butterfly, but I'm going to stagger them down the page just so that it's pleasing to look at that way. So this is the second one here that I'll put somewhere here, seeing this little bit sticks out. And then this one will go on the third little panel here, like so. And then I had the little one down the bottom. So there we go. I won't glue them in. I don't want to make this this video too long. So anyway, that's how it all looks. So that's it. So if you want to go try that for yourselves, have fun with it. It was lots of fun. Just remember that there's a sequence to doing it if you want to do it right. So just take your time and fiddle around, and you might come up with another idea how to do that. But anyway, that's my take on doing these flips and flaps on an envelope. And also, as I said, I'm going to be making some tags and whatnot, and so I'll have tags to put in here and a journal card later on. So for now, that's all I have for you today. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you all have a happy crafty day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.